Hello,
Hello.
hello, Mario. Susie, could you give me a tissue, like just the. That's very filling, Susie. They're much more filling than Susie.
Oh,
So,
Mr. Lunch.
what was that?
No, I call Alan a lunch. Alan Genauer.
Susie,
Alan.
they're much more with these impossible ones.
I don't know which one it is.
No, the simple soy ones you give me, those are not filling at all. These are extremely filling. Okay. Chaf Aleph, Amud Aleph, 21. Zoken shiny. You can't give me a raya about a chacham. The other lakno, he knows how to be makne. We were dealing with the issue of whether we rely on a woman to be able to be makne to her baal, to the husband, to get. If, for example, she owned the paper or the star that it was on. You have a star that documents a loan, which has been signed by Adim. After it was signed by Adim, a co-signer, a guarantor, is going to guarantee the loan if the borrower doesn't pay. So he writes his name down.
Sorry, wait, holding, sorry.
21.
Follow, near the top. So an Orev, a co-signer, who writes his name on a star after the Adim have signed the original star that documents a loan. So the lender can only go to the co-signer, to the Orev, from free and clear assets, not assets that he sold. Because there was no Adim on the part when he signed his name as an Orev. It's considered like a Malva al Peh. So, my kushya, Dilma Govri Shiny, the Malva was makna, the start to the Orev, that he should sign it. That's how there's a shibud that's chal. But that's no raya, because gavra shiny the other laknui. We are trying to find a proof for a woman being makna get to her husband in order for the husband to be able to give it to her, because it has to be from him. But this is not a proof, because maybe a man is different. It says a woman can write the get. The isha can then give the get to the man, who then gives it to the woman, and he has to pay her the ksuba, and she has to give him a receipt, which is the shoiver. So you might think that the woman has to write it. No, the man can write it and they give it to her. She'ein kima good ela b'choisma. You're mekayim the get through the eidim that are on it. But from here we see that a woman knows how to be makneh, the get itself, in order to get it back from the husband. That's a good proof. Amara, kosav laget. A man writes a get, when the son of biyad avdo, and he puts it in the hand of his eved. The kosav lo shtar matana Allah, and then he writes a gift document, a shtar that documents that he's gifting the eved to his wife. Naso umiskareshes. Now, the eved has a get in his hand. So just like if you put a get into the chotzer that belongs to a woman, since the chotzer is koine, what is placed in it, she becomes divorced. Since the get was in the hand of the eved, and the husband gave the eved through a shtar matona to the woman, she's mizgareshes. It shouldn't work. Chotzer malechasi, this is a moving chotzer, because an eved is compared to karka. V'chatzer malechas loikana. V'chitema ba'oimed. Maybe the eved is standing still. V'amarava. Kol she'ilu ma'alech loikana. Oimed v'yoshev loikana. If he can get up and walk, it's not koina, so even if he's sitting. So v'hilchasa b'kofus. If they chained him so that he couldn't move, and then the husband gifted the eved with the get in his hand to the woman, then she's divorced. Vamarava. Cause of laget minusara b'chatzera. Husband writes a get, puts it in his own chatzer. Because of lo shtar matana, then he gifts the chatzer to his wife. Knasu umiskareshes. She acquires the chatzer, and she's divorced with the get that was in the chatzer. Utsricha, I need to learn from both cases, both by the case of the eved and in the case of the chatzer. The Yashmin an eved, if I would have only been told the case about an eved, havimina dafka eved. Maybe it only works with an eved. Aval chatzer ligzer mishum chatzera bolacher mikan. Maybe we would be goizer that this get shouldn't work, because maybe, let's say the Baal puts a get somewhere that doesn't belong to him, and then the woman buys that place. It's not a good get, because when the Baal put the get in that place, it didn't belong to her. So therefore, it's not him that gave the get to her when she acquires it from the guy that she's acquiring it. So I might have thought by any chotzer, we would be goizer that the get wouldn't work because of this concept of chatzera balachamikan. The Yashmin chotzer, if I'd have only been told the case of chotzer, havimina dafka chotzer, about eved ligzer kafus atashena kafus. As we said before, the eved, it's only going to work if you put it in the hands of the eved and then you tie him up. But maybe we'd make a gzeira. You can never use an eved, because if you thought it works only when he ties him up, I might think it would work even when you don't tie him up. Mashmalon that We're not going through. Rabbi. This whole concept that you can put a get into a woman's chotzer and she gets it, it's learned from the pasuk v'nosan biyadah. Put the get in her hand. It's not in her hand. Anything that she owns. So my yada the isa bein midaitu bein bal korcha. Putting something in her hand will work, whether it's done with her will or not her will. So putting it in her chutzner work, whether she wants it or doesn't want it. But that's if the chutzner belongs to her. Hamatana, our case was more complicated. The chutzner belonged to the husband. He put it in his chutzner. Then he gifted the chutzner with the divorce in it to the woman. A matana only works midaita isa bakor chalesa. A person's not forced to receive a gift. He only receives a gift if he wants it. So maskiv shlichus lekabbalah. When a woman appoints a shaliach to receive a get from her husband, they're also the midaita isa bakor chalesa. She's willingly sending the shaliach. That doesn't work against her will. Against her will, she wouldn't send the shaliach. Yet, even though there's an option of bakor chalesa ka'avi shaliach lekabbalah, the shlichus the Kabbalah works. Abaya says that's not a kasha. Atu shlichus miyado Yisrabi. Shlichus is not learned from the same source of the nasan biyadah. Shlichus is learned. It says v'shilcha. It says v'shilcha. So it's Rabbi, so it's not learned from Yada. So it's not constrained by the dinim of what's going on with her hand about her, midaita versus balkorcha. V'boy sim, if you want, I'll tell you, shlichus the Kabbalah nami ashkan balkorcha. She could appoint a shlichus the Kabbalah and it would work even against her will. Shekain av mekabel get lebito ktana balkorcha. A father can serve as a shaliach for his minor daughter even against her will. So shlichus can work even balkorcha. Then the Mishnah said al he'alah shel zayis, that you could write a get on a olive leaf or on the horn of a cow. And we said you give the cow, or you write it on the hand of an eved, and you give the eved or the cow to the woman. You can't cut his hand off and give it to her. Why do you have to give her the whole cow? Why not cut the horn off and give her the horn? Because you have to write it on an item that all it needs is that you write it and give it. If you wrote it on the horn and then cut it off, you're doing 3 steps: ksiva, ksitza, cutting, unasina. So by just writing it and giving the cow, that would work. That fulfills the chosav, the nosva. Rabbi Yossi Aglili said that you can't write a get on anything that is living. My time, Rabbi Yossi Aglili Tanya. It says in the pasuk, the chosav law, sefer krisus. Ainli ala sefer, that's a document or a book. Minayla rabbis kol davar. Amadover v'chosav law mikol makom. You can write it on anything. Im kein matam lamer sefer. So, mas sefer dover she'ein bo ruach chai ve'eino ochel. A book is not alive and it's not food. Av kol dover she'ein bo ruach chai ve'eino ochel. So you can only write a get on something that's not alive and is not food. Now, the Rabbanon disagree. What do they do with this for Safar law? Iksiv bas sefer. So I would say Kida Amrin. Haj d'chsiv sefer l'sfiras dvarim uda asa. It means to tell a story. We don't care how the story is told. V'Rabbanon hay v'chosav my avid lay. Miboilu b'ksiva miskareshes ve'ena miskareshes b'kesef. Kenny, we're on Chaf Aleph Amud Beis.
Sorry, I'm late, guys. I forgot.
Few lines down from the top.
Amud Beis?
Yeah. The kosav,
Gotcha.
my of the, what do the Rabbanan do for kosav law? Meboilu b'ksiva miskareshes, ve'ena miskareshes b'kesef. You can't use money as a mechanism of divorce. It's got to be by writing. Now, why might I have thought that money works? Kiddushin is with kesef. So Havaya and Yitzi are connected. So Madoch, you can do Kiddushin with kesef. I might think you could do Yitzi with kesef. Mavi because of Yitzi and Amika. Mashmalon that no. It has to be with writing on a document. The Edich, where does Rabbi Yosef Glili learn that? He uses these sukkim to tell me that I can't write it on a living thing. Nafkele mi sefer krisus. Sefer korta, vein davracher korta. Only a document divorces her, nothing else. The Edich, how do the Chachamim learn that? The boy lay. The Sefer Krisus is used to teach me something else. Dover HaKoris Beino Leveino. It has to be a final dissolution. There can't be any other things holding back the divorce. Kidetani. You say, here's your divorce on the condition that you won't drink wine. Or you won't go to your father's house. So, it's not a good divorce. If you put a time frame on those tnoim and you say ad shloishim yoim, so harei krisus. So you have to have you can't leave it open-ended. That's what davar hakores beino leveino means. Ivy idich. The other man, how does he learn that? The Torah could have written Sefer Kores. Why did it write Krisus? To teach me the extra limud. The Yidich Kores Krisus Ladarshi. He doesn't darshan that extra letter for this drasha.
Well, we said before, Al Zayas, is we've talking about the leaves that are detached or
Yes.
attached?
Yes.
Detached.
Detached.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to see right now. Ein koisfin b'mechuber lekarka.
All right.
You may not write it when it's connected to the ground because it says v'chosav v'nosan.
But that's
Otherwise,
right.
you'd have to cut it.
All right.
Let's say you wrote it b'mechuber. Tlosho, and then you cut it v'chasamo and you signed it in the son-in-law. Kosher. Because we'll see that mandomar is Ede Mesira Karti, right? That's really all you need at that point. But Rabbi Yehuda poisel achete ksivosa v'chasimosa b'tolush. Rabbi Yehuda says you've got to write it and sign it when it's already detached. Rabbi Yehuda ben B'seroimer in koisvin lo on the yar mochuk. You cannot write it on erased paper. V'lo diftera, leather that has not been tanned. If you can erase and counterfeit, the Chachamim say it's okay. So immediately after the Mishnah said that you may not write it on something connected, it said, and if you write it connected, kosher. I mean, Ksav al-Mechuber, Amid Reisha Ein Koisvin, Amid Amar Shmuel, V'hu Sheshayir Makam HaToyref. So there are two aspects to a get. There's the toifus and the toiref. The toiref is the legalese, the boilerplate. The toiref documents the name of the husband, the wife, the date, all the details. So I'm sorry, just the opposite. The toiref is the name and the date and the place. So all was written was the legalese, the boilerplate, but they left off that. So by leaving that off, and now you write the toiref, that makes the get kosher. As long as when they wrote on the mechuber, they did not write the toiref, it'll work. And all of these sheets, this is Rabbi Eliezer, the Omar Eidim Masiri Karti. It's not the Eidim that are on the get itself. It's the chasimas of the Eidim at the time of the Masir of the get. And it's not even the chasim of the Eidim on the get. It's the Masira of the get in front of Eidim. That's the Iker. So when it says v'chasav in the Torah, that's talking about the ksivas again atzmo, not the signing. V'chikarma ein koisvin toifus. You may not write the boilerplate on a mechuber. Why? Shema yichtov Torah, because maybe you'll write the Torah too. Chasval toifus utlashai. They wrote the boilerplate, and then they divided, and then chasval Torah. And then they wrote the name and the place and her name on the son kosher. Reish Lakish Amar, it's not kosvo, it's chosmo shaninu. It's that they signed it, and that's Shita Rab Meir. The Amar Edi Chasima Karti. And as long as it was signed when it was not mechuber, then it's kosher. V'chi kamer ein kosvin Torah v'gzer shem yachto. You don't write the boilerplate on a mechuber because you might come to sign it mechuber. Kosvol toiref. Let's say they wrote even the toiref and tloshloi, and then they cut it, and then chsamoi, the edim signed it. Nusan lo kosher because the mayor holds edi chasima karti. Kosvol chertzul otzitz noku. You have a flower pot. And the flower pot has a hole in it. And you wrote the get on the clay of the flower pot. The shakali of alive namely. And he picked it up and gave it to the woman. Kosher. The shakali of alive. But al aleshalot tznoku. You have a flower pot that has a hole in it. So it's connected to the ground. And you wrote it on a leaf in the flower pot. So it's a machlokes. Abaya Omar kosher. Verova Omar pasul. Abaya Omar kosher. The shakal of because she gave it to him. She picked it up and gave it to him. Rav pasul gzeir shemi yiktom. We're concerned that maybe you're going to cut it off. And then it's going to be ksiva ksitsa v'nasan, and that we can't do, or it's the isra of mechuber to the karka.
Is that a Yalkagam? Is this a Yalkagam? Or we pass like Rava?
We paskin like Abaya.
So that's what Yalkagam then,
Yeah,
right?
because we need Ede Mesira. It's Kedivrei Rava. In Koswal Alat Somech Batitznaku. Avu Bishnos Matzatz is Kulo Pasul, like Rava. That part is like Rava.
Okay, yeah, square.
not one of the Yalka.
Okay, square. Yeah.
Okay, so Surba will be at 8:20 whenever I get home. Tomorrow night will be 8:20. The Daf Yomi, regular time.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Square.